Right, welcome to the Zwift Run channel for another interview with one of the members of the Zwift Run Academy team, one of the members of the team that is going to Berlin to run the Berlin Marathon this September. Welcome, Andrew. Nice of you to join us.
Hi, Stephen. Great to meet you. So nice of you to sort of invite us on and learn a bit about the academy and talk to you.
It's all right. I'm the one who needs to learn about the academy, and we interviewed Stacey the other day, and she talked to us about how well the training was going and how excited she was about getting her Woodway treadmill, having run on that pink thing that she's got. Tell me a little bit about your running history. Where do you come from in terms of your pace, and what kind of runner are you?
Yeah, so I ran a lot as a kid. I did obviously a lot of us in the UK do go through sort of the schools cross country sort of system and did a lot of that. Went to uni with the hope of being in the uni running team, and got injured, and then discovered alcohol and nights out, and running kind of fell by the wayside a bit for quite a lot of years. I met my wife about 7 years ago now, and her family are super into sport, like triathlons mainly, doing quite a lot of running. So I was forced to get back running again. We just started doing park runs, things like that. And then they had me doing a 100-mile bike ride, and then they had me doing this, and then I entered a triathlon, then I entered a marathon.
What kind of runner were you at school? 1500 meter, 800 meter runner?
Yeah, so I as part of obviously a sports day at school, did 100 meters, but then 1500 meters as well. So I was always a bit of jack of all trades. Really liked the cross country side of things as well. So part of the cross country team, went to English schools, English colleges, sort of relatively high standard for cross country. And I was meant to go to Loughborough. Loughborough's very known for its. I did go to Loughborough, but I didn't do sport there.
Oh, right. Okay.
Very well known.
Because Tom Evans is out at Loughborough now, isn't he? One of our top ultra runners.
Yeah. There's a lot. Well, it's ridiculous. You go there and you were sort of relatively good in your school, good in your sort of sixth form, and then you go there and it's extra level again. Zwift has really helped, because I was saying, my wife, she prefers usually outside running. I really like the treadmill. And kind of structure, and the structure the treadmill gives you. So I've been doing a lot of my training indoors, as you'd probably expect from being part of the Zwift Academy. My PBs were, whilst I was getting more and more tired, got a 1-year-old. He was taking up a lot of time, but my PBs were going down because I was so much more structured from the start with the Zwift Academy. In the last sort of maybe 3 or 4 years, got better and better, and then in the last year got significantly better than I was before.
What do you do for a living, Andrew? I mean, we've talked about the fact that your wife's a runner, a triathlete as well, and it can be a challenge balancing that. You've just mentioned you've got a 1-year-old as well, so you're bringing up a young family. What do you do for a living? How do you manage all that time?
So I'm a solicitor, so I do a lot of working from home still, because and travel between Leeds and London quite a lot, because my company is based down in London. So it's quite a tough challenge. So I think it was I've mentioned it as the people doing the academy, but I was when I was doing the training last year through sort of the 8-week block. I was moving house. So I just moved house, had a 1-year-old, got married. I think it really started to kick in, the training, in sort of April, May time. And that was when we first sort of met Terence and started talking through about what our goals were and what we wanted from the training. That was tough at the start, because it was a big shift from me being a bit more sporadic, sort of doing 10k here, 20k run here. And it's always been one of my failings with marathon running, that you can kind of get away with it for up to half marathon, but as soon as you go for marathon, I found with did London last year, and got to 20 miles on for a pretty good time, and then ran the last 10k, and I think in the same amount of time as it took me to do the first 20 miles. It was a big collapse. It's been really tough to sort of adjust to every day, running essentially every day. And I think I've ran every day now for at least the past month and a half. I'm not a kind of a streak runner who runs every day. Usually, I have rest days.
It's just about getting those miles in, isn't it?
Definitely, and doing the sort of 3 key sessions a week. So the hard intervals, the tempo, and the long run. They're the sort of 3 main parts of the plan, and then the rest is just filler and bulk. And it's it's been a big sort of learning curve. But yeah, it's been hard.
First run on Zwift. How did you come to discover the platform?
So I've been cycling on it for ages. I can't remember when it was. I think it was still in beta testing when I was cycling on it. Because I think it was really early on. I remember it being quite a rough version compared to what it is now, obviously. As soon as I moved house, basically, before I'd bought a sofa and got the sofa up into the living room, I'd got a treadmill. I'd gone on eBay, found a guy who had bought a top-of-the-range Techno Gym My Run when it was first lockdown, and he was selling it for a significantly reduced price because I think he just wanted rid of it. So it's like, yeah, this is a really good treadmill. Got it for significant amount off, like really good deal on it. And then I saw Stacey sent us videos of the one that she's been using, and it's creaking, and yeah, I mean, but then the Woodway is unbelievable. It's the slats, and it's really good bit of kit, and I'm very, very, very lucky to be able to have it. And yeah, also it goes past 20 kilometers an hour, which is pretty nice for intervals.
See, now that you say that, let's talk about your speed then. What are you aiming for in Berlin? And what are your previous... Give me some idea of your previous times for things like 10Ks, half marathons.
Okay. So I'm aiming for under 2:30, which is hard to say out loud because it's a very punchy goal. My current PB is 2:41. That was a fluke, and that came out of absolutely nowhere. I did Manchester Marathon in 2:46, and then 3 weeks later just did London in 2:41, and I think I just got carried away with the crowds, and it was ridiculous experience. London last year did 2:50 something, and that's when I was on for at 20 miles. I'd gone through in the pace for quite a bit under 2:30, and then crumbled quite a lot. And yeah, so my 10k 32, 5Ks 15:20, then half marathons 1:12.
You were talking earlier about the fact that it's been difficult, or it was difficult in the past to fit in mileage, and you'd do 10k here, 20k there. And then when you got in with the team and Terence took a hold of you, you've started to have more structure, and you are doing more bulk mileage per week. What is your current weekly mileage compared to what it was? And do you think that is benefiting you? Are you seeing the benefits of that?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I mean, it's the structure from Terence is great. Like we've used the Training Peaks app, and it's every day is plotted out. So there's no kind of guesswork, and I've never worked with a coach before. Working with Terence has sort of said, like, these are the 3 targeted sessions per week, and then it's filled in with, he gives you the option to do it on the bike, but I really wanted to some of the recovery sessions, but I really wanted just to see what you could do with just doing it running. I think my current mileage is hovering between sort of 70 and 80 miles per week.
You managed a 2:41 marathon on what, 40 miles a week?
Yeah. So we'll see.
If you're now doing almost double that, I mean, we've got to hope that you are close to taking 10 minutes off.
It's really tough because I'm so tired all the time. Not only from Ralph getting me up at 4:30, but from just my legs are just heavy, constantly heavy. Like, I think I sent a screenshot to my wife saying I've not done under 10k, I don't think, since sort of last month. It's just relentless mileage, which is, like I said, something not used to, and then trying to mix it with doing the 800 session was this week for me as well, and that 10 times 800, the famous Yasu session. and then doing the ramp up intervals, and then trying to do the long run at the weekend. It's kind of it's going to be interesting to see what the taper looks like. I think I'll go crazy a little bit though during the taper.
I mean,
I'm not used to it. I'm going to.
How much of this bulk mileage does Terence tell you to just do really slowly, or are you left to your own devices as to choose what pace you want to do that bulk mileage at?
I can't stress enough how incredible this plan is, and like Terence has been and Jen has been, like with not only sort of the coaching but also the psychological stuff as well. I'll mention that in a bit. But at the start we did. We did a lot of testing. So like I was sent to a track and did 2K threshold on X heart rate. I can't remember what it was. And then 2 times 400 meters flat out as fast as you can possibly do them on the sort of tired legs, but sort of working your VO2. And then we did like a run as like sort of fast as you can, but keep your heart rate at maybe 163. So it works out. Basically, the idea was to work out all your different range and your zones at the start of the plan. So then off that, he's then structured all of the training around those paces with the idea of gradually building up the bulk, but building up the speed as well. So it's absolutely amazing. So the like today was easy-ish zone 1 to 2 endurance kind of run of 12k easy.
Are you sticking to that? Are you disciplined at, because I know people are told to do zone 1 and 2 and then they're running at 150 beats per minute into zone 3, and because they don't feel, it seems too slow. I can't possibly run in zone 1. Are you disciplined enough to keep to that?
So at the start I really wasn't, and I was
typical
part of a
5k runner, everyone. Typical 5k.
Exactly. And I had a 5k race series as well, which I was trying to do sneakily and hide them within my runs. So one of the sessions was do an 8k tempo, and I knew that I had a 5k race that evening, so I did sort of a 3k kind of relaxed warm up, smashed the 5k as hard as I possibly could, and then the cool down. Then it had reps afterwards, so then I had to go off and try and find a way to make it look like I'd done some reps. So I was being a bit sneaky at the start, and then like Terence being really supportive with it, but at the same time saying 5Ks aren't really going to help you for a marathon. They're really fun and really good, but you're not going to. You might improve your 5K time a bit, but your 5K time is irrelevant to how good you are at a marathon. So. I thought that was me reading between the lines, saying maybe stop doing so many 5Ks, because Training Peaks is really good in the way that it has red workouts. It's red if you've done it completely wrong. It's you know it, and a lot of people will, won't they?
In terms of the yellow. Explain to people though how it works. Yeah.
I was just, in terms of it's like red if you've done a shocker and you've not done it at all, and. Yeah, like amber, yellow if you've kind of just about done it, and then green if you've done it. So recently, all of my sessions have been green, because I've been like, right, I need to trust in the process now a little bit, especially for the past sort of 2 months, I'd say. Every session is pretty much been there.
So what will happen is on Training Peaks, Terence will prescribe a week or however long set of workouts to do. And those workouts will be based. Are they based on heart rate, I guess, or pace?
More pace, to be honest. He's done. Pace. Yeah, it's more on pace.
So they're based on. You can have them based on heart rate, on pace, or power if you run with power. And if you do your workout correctly, then it's coloured green. If you go over or under the heart rate or the power or the pace that you're supposed to be at, then it will be amber or red, telling your coach that you haven't been doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's about the ballpark, Andrew?
Yeah, and you don't really want reds everywhere, do you? Because you've just been naughty.
Let's talk about the Zwift Academy and why did you enter Zwift Run Academy? What did you think was going to happen? And how did you feel when you got down to the last few and then the last 6?
It's quite tricky because the Zwift, I mean, as I've sort of said about with Terence, but I really like structured plans and the workouts. I was in sort of a 5K league at the time. It was coming up to cross country season for our club as well. So actually, the 8 week process for me was just brilliant training, like really good quality workouts. That I did them a few times during the sort of the window. I don't think it made too much of a difference because I didn't hit some of the stars, for example. Like I probably pushed a bit on the work, pushed a bit on the warm ups, slacked off a bit on the recoveries. But I really liked the idea that there was going to be a baseline 5K at the start, a baseline 5K at the end, and the whole point for me was to use it as training to improve from the start to the end. Because I hadn't had Zwift Academy the year before, I didn't know really what it was too much about, what it was all about. I'd sort of seen the cycling one, so I didn't know really when I was getting into it how absolutely insane and incredible the sort of prizes at the end of it and what it entails. But then you go through the workouts, you sort of see Terence flashing up on the screen saying, push a bit harder, do some breathing exercises, and it kind of made me think like, I don't know why I should try and get a coach, or they're accessible, aren't they? And it kind of made me want to go through a bit more structure. And then sort of it ended, had graduated from the academy, and then was like, then it all went quiet, and I kind of thought, I've done quite well here. I'd knocked my time down by maybe a minute on 5K over those 8 weeks, and it wasn't as if I was slacking off in the first run either. My heart rate was through the roof. You enter these things, and there's like thousands and thousands of people who do them, and I don't like. I mean, I just love. I mean, I've said it many a time to many people, but I just love the running aspect of it, and I love like the training and the trying to make yourself better and better at running. But I think the thing with I mean, I didn't really think about myself being selected either. I don't have a big sort of social media. I kind of thought like, it's going to be someone with a massive social media following, or a massive sort of profile in running, or just someone who is maybe quite young, who can really, really improve, like who's never done a marathon before, or it's quite a...
What do you think is the reason why you were chosen? And for somebody wanting to enter next year, what should they do? Is there something they can do? Is there something they can think about which it makes it more likely for them to be chosen?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about this so many times because you genuinely feel like I'm just really, really lucky. I mean, it feels like I work really hard in terms of sort of work generally in my normal work, my normal job, and then like obviously with Ralph, and then the wedding and the house move, and everything was kind of piling up there. But I work really hard with running as well. Like I genuinely love doing it, and I love the sort of getting better and better, and the structure and the sort of break that it gives you from every day, that you can just go out and go on your treadmill. Treadmill's been brilliant for it. So I mean, if you like sort of take me as an example, I just kind of just explain that I'm just a normal guy who just loves running and has a really busy life, but use running to try to like relax almost, and that hopefully then appeals to other people who are in a similar situation to me, that you just you don't necessarily have all the time in the world, but you can still make, if you're wanting to and you want to put the effort in, you can still make the improvements to your own running, I think, regardless of everything that's going on.
Sure. And I think that it may well be that, everyone who's chosen, of course, there are only 6 people out of thousands. There's got to be some luck there. And I'm sure that Zwift need to have a cross-section of people, a diversity within the 6. And it may be that you're the young guy who can do 2:30 marathon. Then there might have been 1,000 young guys who can do a 2:30 marathon, and they chose you. So there may be an element of luck, but there may be something that somebody sees in you that says, right, that's the guy for us. So I think all that people can do is do their very best and tell their story. What did you do for your video?
For my video, it was basically a 3-minute piece to camera, explaining who you are. I just did it in one take and just sat and just said, here is what I am and what I'm about. Here is my running background. Here's why I loved being part of the academy. Used some sort of stats to show that since I've started on Zwift, my PB's come down by X amount of time. And it's things like that, and just explaining that I've not got all the hours in the day to do a ridiculous amount of training. I mean, it has been a bit more ridiculous recently, but with it just thanks to it's a marathon training block, isn't it? But it's it was kind of just explaining and just coming across like you want to come across, like you just like come across like a normal person, hopefully. And I don't think it's particularly a secret, but the idea behind the process is that they want you to be they wanted you to be able to generate content really quickly. So they gave us about 2 days, I think, from when we got selected to then do the video and then send it off. It was a really short time frame, and quite hard to make, and then quite hard to edit, and especially if you're not like I've never edited a video in my life. To edit a video in that short period of time. So all my great ideas when I first saw the email about, I could go up running on the moors up there, then show me on the treadmill, and it just went to pieces, and I just did a monologue.
But it worked.
Yeah. I didn't even say my date of birth, I don't think. I was meant to say, the first line is say your name, date of birth or age or something like that, and then where you live and a bit about you, and I just forgot to put my age in.
Are you excited? Tell us what your current thoughts are about going to Berlin. Have you run a major? Well, you have run a major because you've done London.
Done London. Yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of just not lost on me or any of. I mean, the team is just messaging all the time. Just everyone's getting really, really excited now, and I think the main thing is that we all have our sort of goals in mind and our goal paces in mind, but ultimately it's just incredible to have been selected to be part of the process, to be sort of wearing Adidas, like the running brand that I've like worn since I was a kid. Like, I love running in Adidas shoes, using like the Morton, got it just here, it's my water bottle, using the Morton nutrition. I mean, it's all on course, so they've really kindly sort of sent us out some of the Morton to try, which is insane. I don't know how it works, but it works really well, and it's kind of not like nothing I've ever tried before, and I would definitely recommend trying it. And yeah, like, I mean, the Garmin's sort of sent us the heart rate straps and the watches, and I mean, it's you've just got all your stats there, so you can hopefully pace it properly, which is something I've definitely had an issue with in the past. And yeah, obviously the treadmill. I mean, that's just phenomenal. We've talked about that a lot already. But then we're also getting cool sunglasses. I heard Stacey's got 16.
Are you telling me that you haven't got 16 pairs of gooder sunglasses like Stacey?
No, but I've got 4 of them. So
that's still enough.
I was like, good, brilliant. I thought I was their biggest fan, and turns out Stacey's a 4 times bigger fan than I am.
She is. Andrew, it's been great talking to you. Thank you very much for joining me. I wish you all the very best in Berlin. 2:30 Andrew is going for, which are you possibly the fastest member of the group?
I think so. I mean, there's some incredible runners though. I mean, Kevin's been doing some brilliant running. Like,
of course,
he's looking really good. I mean, Maria, wow, she is insanely good. Like, I think she's just done she's been a bit injured, which is a real shame, because I'd really like to have seen what she'd been able to do, because like, I think she ran just before her injury, ran a 1:14 half and won it. And yeah, everyone's had their sort of struggles. Kristin's had some struggles with injury, and yeah, Stacey said she's got COVID, and then Sonny's just got his treadmill installed, so I think he's been a bit further back because he needs as much help as he can get with indoor training with the Malaysian temperatures. Yeah, it's very warm there. Yeah, it's been it's been great to be part of the team. Really looking forward to meeting them all in Berlin. And yeah, meeting you in Berlin would be great.
Well,
hopefully we can all celebrate.
Hopefully we can all join together and have an enjoyable celebration after the event. All concentrated prior to the event, though. So good luck in Berlin, Andrew. Thanks for
Yes,
joining me. Take care. See you soon.
no problem. Thanks a lot. Really nice to meet you. See ya.